Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Dabs, Naman Dabs. Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. I appreciate all of you taking the time to join us for Mother's Day. The moms in the room could be getting served breakfast in bed, or going out to brunch, or maybe getting the day off, and you chose to come here this morning and spend it with the Sangha. So I really appreciate all of you being here today. First, I wanted to acknowledge that these holidays can be a sensitive time for many people. For mothers who have lost children, we're thinking of you today. For those of you who have lost your mother, we see you and acknowledge your feelings of pain. Those of you who have strained mother relationships and mothers with strained child relationships, we hold space for you today. Those of you who have chosen not to be mothers, and those of you yearning to be mothers, we're thinking of you today. And these days, I feel a lot of holidays, they just come with complicated emotions, even though they're supposed to be happy days. And if you're somebody experiencing pain today, just know that you're not alone. And for those of you feeling nothing but warm, fuzzy feelings today because you had the best mother ever, or you had the best mother ever, we see you too today. So I thought a lot about what I wanted to say today for Mother's Day when I got assigned this talk. Many of you know I have 3 children. And I wanted to be a mother my entire life. I used to play with Cabbage Patch dolls. For those of you too young to know what that is, it's the doll pictured there. I started babysitting when I was 12 years old, and I pretty much babysat for regular families every single week, probably until I got married. So I really love children, and I still do on most days. Depends on the day. So you would think that this would be like, this is my day, this is my big day, celebrating all of my dreams coming true because I really, really wanted to be a mother. But it's complicated for me too. So I followed society's recommended timeline for having children. I went to college, I started my career, I got married, actually 15 years ago on this day. Sometimes my anniversary would land on Mother's Day. The same day that my grandparents got married. They were married for 60 years. And then we bought a house, and I planned each one of my children down to the day. I'm a crazy type A planner. Lots of expectations. I always have the need to have everything under control. And I wanted lots of kids. I wanted at least 4 kids, maybe even 5. I really, really wanted a big family. And then one day, unexpectedly, I became an only parent when my husband passed away. That was not in the plans, obviously, to become a single mom. And words can't capture the pain I felt suddenly becoming a single mother. It comes with a stigma in society, at least in US society. And then to be an only parent, where there's no backup at all, ever. It's a lonely and arduous road that I would travel on and continue traveling on. If you know an only parent or a single mother in your life, you should text her Happy Mother's Day, like right now, and tell her what a great job she's doing, because I can tell you firsthand, it is the hardest job I've ever done. It's also the most rewarding job I've ever had, the most rewarding hat I've ever worn. There aren't enough words to capture how much I love my children, how much they mean to me. They've kept me centered in this crazy world through the good times and the bad times. As much as they drive me nuts with their arguing and their inability to fold their laundry and all of their other shenanigans, I love them more than anything, including myself. And I feel like they've been my why even before they were even born. So, especially after their father passed away. My number one priority at that point was to give them a life as close as possible to the life they would have had if their father were still here. And I know that I can never give them that same world, but it is an ideal, a standard, a high bar that I strive to get as close to as possible. And I believe that this is my mother's love for them. Today, I want to talk about the idea of the mother's love in relation to Buddhism. So I come from a long line of emotionally distant mothers. So on the flip side, I have stories for days about how it feels like to be on the receiving end of complicated love from a mother and how much I strive to break that cycle with my own children. And it's complicated. Grief, being a mother, being human, it's not all warm cooked meals and cozy bedtime stories. I'm also a teacher, and when I had children, it changed who I was as a teacher. I think I got softer. I'm way soft now. I used to never accept late work, and we're at the end of the year, and I'm getting late work left and right. I'm so soft, and it's because you start to see your own kids in other kids, other students, and you think about how you want your own kids to be treated. It becomes very personal, especially as my kids get closer to the age range that I teach, which is high school. It becomes very personal. But I have colleagues who have never had their own biological children and have way more mother's love for their students than I ever have. It's pretty amazing. So I know that it's not the kind of love that is limited to women who give birth. It's not even something limited to women. My husband was also a teacher, and he had way more mother's love than I think, could ever have with his students. He was amazing. And when you think about it, we have an ideal of what a mother's love should be, and an entire spectrum of what it might look like in somebody's life. Because mothers are human, and they may carry inside of them their own intergenerational trauma. And some handle it better than others. Some mothers have their own battles that they're fighting that may distract them from being maybe our idea of the textbook perfect mother. And other mothers pass away way too soon. All this to say, I think the concept of a mother's love is more of an ideal rather than a guaranteed reality. And as such, it's not something limited to biological mothers. In fact, we are all capable of showing a mother's love to anyone who we encounter in our lives. To me, the ideal of a mother's love is like the concept of Amida. Amida represents a dynamic spirit. Amida is ultimate reality. It represents Buddha nature. So Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, referred to Shakyamuni Buddha as the kind father and Amida Buddha as the mother of loving care. Their compassionate guidance awakens supreme Shinjin in us, and that's a mind free of doubt, a sincere and entrusting mind. Of course, they aren't our biological parents, but they're sources of love that can nurture our existence in this world of suffering. It's that mother's love of the highest ideal, the warmest embrace you can ever imagine taking solace in, a refuge, a place of safety and security, something you don't have to think about being there for you, you just know it is. It's a safety net. The compassion also can come from other Buddhas, and we are all capable of becoming Buddhas someday. Dr. Nobuo Haneda explained that Mahayana Buddhists, which is the umbrella that we're under, our branch of Buddhism, believed that the most important thing in Buddhism was not the ideas and concepts produced by Siddhartha Gautama, but the creative spirit of Shakyamuni's legacy. According to Dr. Haneda, Mahayana Buddhists were interested in the source of inspiration that produced Shakyamuni. For them, this is the Dharma, the universal Buddhahood, the spirit beyond the concept and symbol of Amida. And I think about motherhood in a similar way. The ideal mother is someone who we can take refuge in. She's there for us during our lowest lows and our highest highs. She is our cheerleader always. She knows just when to show up and also when to back down. She reminds us of our favorite foods and our best childhood moments. She is our source of inspiration, our everything. She can be the most prominent fixture in our lives and also fade away into the unassuming background. She is the foundation on which we now stand tall, and maybe we can't always fully explain or understand, and we probably just take for granted and don't always appreciate. But she's always there for us. And what we're really thinking about is the spirit of a mother's love, not what each person may actually get in their mother. This is not everyone's mother. This is an ideal. We know that children with healthy mother-child relationships grow up to be happier people. We know that the mother's love is a good thing. It's a great thing. But mothers are human, and not everyone is going to get that ideal version for a myriad of reasons. Now, if you look at the physical representation of Amida, this is what you will see. It's important to note that the statue is symbolic. It's a physical representation of a truth that is inconceivable. The standing Amida leans slightly forward to represent the wisdom and compassion that move to affirm us. You'll notice Amida's robe is open at the heart, symbolizing generosity. Amida's hand positions, otherwise known as mudras, symbolize an assurance that we can come as we are. Everyone is accepted, nobody is rejected. All of the symbolisms are a welcoming affirmation, which is important in the awakening to our unique potential as human beings. Doesn't this sound a lot like our ideal mother? She has infinite wisdom and compassion to share with us, to shape us, mold us into the best possible version of who we can be. She affirms us. She's generous and accepts us for who we are. She does not reject us. She sees our full potential. She roots for us. She loves us, encourages us. What does she look like, this ideal mother? Does she wear an apron and a 1950s house dress and bake cookies for us? My daughter might say she wears dorky mom buns like I do. My niece and nephews actually recently lost their mother, my sister-in-law, Lois, and they said that her favorite hat was the one that said Mama, and she would carry around a tote bag with her grown children's faces on it, and they thought it was super dorky, but once she was gone, it was really very endearing that she did that. When I think of my sister-in-law, I think of a mom who was all in. She would do anything for her children. She sacrificed for her children. She always put herself second, maybe third, fourth, fifth, always last. Maybe she was an example of mother's love. Does the ideal mom dress like a soccer mom? Or is she self-sacrificing and spend all of her money on her kids while she wears the old clothes? It's difficult to conceptualize what the ideal mom might look like. Sometimes I would fantasize about having a mom who wore pantsuits and broke glass ceilings, but I really don't have any idea if that would have been the ideal mom either. And I think the reality is, there is no one reality. I can't tell you what she looks like, and it doesn't matter what she looks like. It's the love and spirit that she shows you in her interactions with you. It's a love and spirit that can transcend all barriers. So maybe you might not even encounter it in your own mother. Maybe you find it in a teacher or a neighbor, a friend, mentor, colleague, maybe someone in this room right now. Just like the spirit of Amida or Shakyamuni or any other Buddha, I suspect a mother's love is also inconceivable. We might have an idea about what it feels like, but it's difficult to write the equation. Not all of us will be able to successfully duplicate the recipe. There's no manual to teach us how to do this. And I had a great friend and a mentor. He got me into teaching. He got me the job I still have today. Last time I talked about almost losing my job, but he got me that job. And he was so nurturing and kind, thoughtful, encouraging. When I got my first contract job, he sent me flowers. When I had my first baby, Ethan, he sent me flowers. He always rooted for me. And when he passed away, I felt a deep loss. His mother's love had been the wind beneath my wings in early adulthood. And one of my deepest regrets to this day is that I didn't really do enough to reciprocate. I was just like a child. I just gratefully accepted his love, but I didn't think even to do it, to return anything. And I've encountered these people who I like to call like mini bodhisattvas. They like sprinkle the world with their love. They're very thoughtful. They think of other people. I have a colleague who always remembers to bring little treats to show her gratitude to people at work. And another friend who brings me cookies on special occasions. And another friend who always thinks to write thoughtful notes. And there's people in this room, many of you, who also do the same. You think of these ways to affirm others without ever expecting anything in return. You just show up for people. And it's these people who inspire me, sprinkling the world with their love without expecting anything in return. And I think that's what it is, like that selfless love. Doing something for others, knowing you likely won't get it all back. I mean, that's basically motherhood. What's a mother's experience? If your mother has all of the ideal characteristics of a mother, you're so lucky. You should cherish it. I aspire to be this for my own children, yet I know I fall short. A big part, I think, of becoming a practicing Buddhist for me was to handle my grief and unexpected life circumstances so that I could enjoy motherhood. I wanted to be a mother my whole life, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to miss any of the opportunities to watch my kids grow by being bogged down with grief. I wanted to be a mother who could still enjoy the journey with them. But it's always a work in progress. We're human, we're flawed, we're not perfect. But there is an ideal for us to conceptualize. And by listening, I think, to the Dharma, it washes over us, teaches us, and hopefully eventually becomes a part of who we are. And you can do this for others. It doesn't matter who you are. Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshi wrote in Lion's Roar back in 2023 that the practice of voicing Namo Amida Butsu is not a petition for a better life, nor is it expressing devotion to a deity. It's a deeply spiritual experience which is difficult to describe. The simple answer would be to say it's an expression of gratitude. The Nembutsu reminds us of the singularly unique gift of human life. The gift of life is due to the efforts of others, not due to our personal efforts. Just like all of the mother's love that we have experienced in various forms throughout our lives. That love, that mother's love that we've received from many different people, has nurtured us into the people we are today. I would argue that the mother's love, that deep, compassionate, accepting, nurturing kind of love, is another way that we can try and understand the concept of Amida Buddha. We can today, right now, show others that kind of love. This kind of love is the glue of our interdependence. And loving our own children is only part of the equation. Since we've each benefited from the love of others and others beyond our family, it's kind of up to us to continue showing love to others. Imagine what this world would look like if we all made a habit of showing the mother's love, that ideal love, to strangers, even the rude ones, to colleagues, even the ones we can't stand, to classmates, even the ones who annoy us every day, to neighbors, even the grumpy ones. I could think of one right now, actually. To people standing in line, even the ones who cut in front of us, to other drivers on the road, even the ones with road rage. To be patient even when people are unkind. To be helpful even when others are inconsiderate. To care even when others don't, especially when others don't. To be accepting even when others choose to discriminate. To hold space for others even when we think they're taking up too much space. To be encouraging even when others aren't. To think pure and beautiful thoughts. To be kind and gentle. To say pure and beautiful things, to do pure and beautiful deeds, to do better when we realize our mistakes. We've all benefited from people who have done all of that for us. People whose names and faces we might never remember, but at some point in our lives took care of us. So today, I celebrate the mother's love, the ideal mother's love. I aspire to show more of it, to be this love to others, to raise children who will be this love, and also pay attention to my Dharma talk, and their children show this love, and their children, and so on. I want to be the brightest link in this golden chain of love, letting my mother's love shine so bright that it positively impacts others, even people I don't know. So once again, happy Mother's Day to all of the moms in the room, and if you can, please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.